So after a long while, I was going to do a different video today. But then Pulsecon had to happen, and now there's a bunch of reveals I just know I will not hear the end of till I make a video about them. So your likes, please give. And if you enjoyed this video by the end and you aren't subscribed already, please consider it. And as always, huge thanks to all those who helped me by sending the pictures that I will be using in today's video. So huge thanks to Met, Audie, Evolve, Hypertech, Goober, Berto Boy, and Fully Tired. Let's go by reveal and start with the poster. From the people who brought you Thrilling 30, they now gift you fucking 40. God, we're all getting old. Alright, first up, it's called Legacy United, which I swear if the gimmick is called UniFuzion, I will scream. We're going to ignore these guys for a minute, they will be relevant later. The only important information you need to know about them is that for some reason they are on the poster twice, and with one of them I'm half sure it's the same artwork, just mirrored. Before they showed the full poster, the only thing we could see on the Pulsecon video was this, and for a minute there I was questioning whether or not this was another re-release of Beast Wars Megatron. Also, what's going on, Energon Megatron? What's wrong with your wing? Down on the bottom left, we see Thundertron, who we heard was coming from leaks, and I can't say that I'm either shocked or excited. Animated Prime, we got leaks of him the day after I did my last reveals video, proof yet again that I am cursed. Bumblebee, I already covered him. I was watching this on stream with my Discord, and when the image panned up to here, there was an actual explosion in chat. I legitimately never thought that I'd be excited to see a Magmatron, but here we are. We have no idea what the toy is going to look like, but apparently they are doing it, and apparently it's going to be the Commander class. Then we get up to Windblade, whose alt mode was leaked the day of my last reveals video, literally like the minute it went live. My curse is so powerful, I'm sure that even this video won't be complete just a few hours after being released. And what the fuck is wrong with her arm? Windblade, you seem to have a bit of a growth there. A guy who looks like a van version of Soundwave. Yes, I do know who this is, I'm just keeping it a surprise for later in the video. Purple Tidal Wave, who is the smaller version of Tidal Wave who actually appeared in the show, and he's clearly depicted here being mounted to Megatron like he was in Armada. But at the same time, we've also received confirmation that he is going to be the new Titan class. So what the fuck is going on here? Because there's no way that he could be Titan class and small enough to fit on Megatron. They better not have moved into a phase where they're like, Titan class, but it's a small leader with more than average accessories. And lastly, Tigerhawk, the second Transmetal 2 we are getting. Where's Silverbolt already? Alright, now the figures. First thing they showed was Energon Megatron. I'll be honest, it looks like a good figure of him, even if the backpack is really hollow, but on that front, what do you expect? It's a core class. The question, however, is, do you even care considering this is Megatron from Energon? I've never watched the show, but as far as I can gather from the rest of the community, that's like saying it's Megatron from a kick to the balls. Next up is the Tasmanian Kid. And look, I'm known for my hate of all things Transformers anime, but at the same time, this thing just looks so much like an OG Beast Wars figure. So I just can't help but love it. His face is kind of giving it away, so that's less than ideal, but I can handle that. Also, the faux-forming chest is not a good thing, but honestly, this looks a lot better than the core Rat Trap, and the alt mode is cute and scary at the same time. So I will buy this without question or complaint when it's available. Then Hasbro did what I thought was impossible. They made me care about Rock Lords. This is fucking genius, man. No one ever thought for a second that they would turn the Rock Lords into vehicles. And somehow that makes all the difference. They go from something completely pointless to something that's wacky and fun. Suddenly this has huge Flintstone vibes, and I'm all about it. I guess this thing's name is Boulder Crash, and based on the long peg hanging off its back, and the fact that Mark mentioned a combiner from the Headmasters while talking about this, as well as, and I quote, bringing some core class Dinobot energy back to this new set, and all that makes me wonder if the Rock Lords are going to be a combiner. For a core class, this thing is insanely well painted. These three psychos are doing whatever they want with the franchise, and it's honestly kind of glorious. Going from one Rock Lord to the next, I guess this guy's name is Magnius? They had a little bit of confusion about that on stream. Look at the tits on this boy! He's got a real set of badonkas, packing some real Doban honkeros, massive Dohunka Bankaloos. Is this supposed to be a woman? Because it's got the waist of a pencil and they're putting Black Arachne to shame. Plus, considering they're all one color, they're even more naked than her too. This dude looks cool, but like, where's the paint? The other guy had awesome paint, but this dude's all gray plastic it seems. It's well textured and I do like it, but it's still very monotone. He has wings on his arms for some reason and I do not understand that. However, I do love the death station wagon made out of rocks he turns into. This really looks like a prop vehicle from some out there 80s movie. I will happily pick this up, but I'm a little more confused about this one than I was with the other. Who knows, maybe the rock guys combine into some big bird. Still don't know why these two were on the poster twice. Maybe they'll release a second version of it with different characters here when they reveal more of them. Then they showed off Bumblebee, who I already covered, so I don't have too much new to say, other than good news it seems. Yes, the arms were mistransformed in the original leaks, so they should mount a whole lot more naturally, where there isn't like a half-inch space between the bicep and shoulder. Then they showed off Chase, and I almost like this. Almost. but ultimately I kinda hate it. And all that's because of the awful fucking head. For some reason, they decided to not at all try to integrate it into the Chug aesthetic. So it's just a rescue bot's head plonked onto a completely inappropriate body for the design. This clash is so hard. It's obvious the two aesthetics weren't meant for each other. Seriously, the show for babies is too sacrosanct for you to chugify the head even a little? I'm sure that people are very happy about this because the show is quite loved by people who came way after my time, but you have to admit that they could have matched the head to the body a lot better. The only thing that saves this for me is the fact that this is blatantly going to be retooled into an evergreen/TLK barricade. They even mentioned that he could get some brass knuckles. This is a barricade pre-tool, no question. Which is probably why the body doesn't match the head at all and honestly looks really cool on its own. It was made for a completely different dude. Then we got Windblade, and this was the disappointment of the show for everyone I was watching this stream with. For starters, it's based on the Cyberverse one. Disgusting. Why the fuck would you ever do that? Ah yes, Cyberverse Windblade, the most iconic version of this character. But you know what, that's not even the part that I'm actually mad about. I mean, outside of the general proportions, this doesn't look like that design at all anyways. Wings aren't sharp enough, turbine's too small, she stole Windcharger's backpack for some reason, head is a nightmare that looks little like it's supposed to, once again making Windblade look creepy as shit. I don't know why this character is so hard for them to get right. But no, the real problem here is that VTOL mode. That is a rough alt mode. That is just flat out not what any version of this character is supposed to look like. And look, I get it. Girlbots with girl bods are hard to make. Jetformers are hard to make. Windblade is a relatively small and lithe girl who turns into a pretty large jet. But anyone has to do a good version of her eventually, right? Also, I hate her shins. Then you got Thundertron. And look, I may be a Philistine, but this looks exactly like the toy he had back in Prime. They've changed nothing. I love that his feet transform in the most pointless way imaginable, and that is the Hunchback of Notre Dame of cat modes. I know a lot of people are super excited for this, but this just doesn't look any fun to me. He looks like a Voyager with extremely basic posing. The transformation looks brutally simple. Fold up chest, hide arms in pauldrons, bend over, flip toes backwards. There's probably more to it than that, but it doesn't look like it from here. And then I just cannot bring myself to say that the lion mode looks cool. He's got tiny front legs and a head melding into his torso. I hope it's good, but even if it is, I will probably review this and then get rid of it. This is not for me, and there's nothing wrong with that, provided it's good to do justice for the people who actually care. I just don't think it will be. Then you've got animated Optimus Prime, and I really don't like the look of this thing. I'm sorry. It has all of the visual issues that I really don't like about animated, but at the same time, it doesn't look like animated. It lacks the charm and has the faults. I appreciate that his thighs aren't pencil thin like they were in the show, but the proportions are bloated. Why does the alt mode look like it's trying to evolve into a forklift? Plus no mask? That's a sin. Honestly though, the alt mode is the biggest problem I have. This mode really doesn't look like it's supposed to. The back is horribly misshapen. I've mentioned the weird ass bumper already, which is kind of referencing what it's supposed to be while still being utterly wrong. But my biggest problem is that the cab is way too long. The cab is supposed to be like 1 door length and a quarter. This is like 2 and a quarter. It's just incorrect. I think that this looks like a better toy than the previous one, but it's failing to capture the spirit of the character on a design that I already didn't like. Unlike Thundertron though, I am confident that the toy will at least be fun. Then we've got the one that had even me roaring in awe. Tigerhawk. Oh, it looks so good. Except for the teeny tiny baby back legs, that is not how those are supposed to look. But you know what? I'm not really mad about it. 1, it has mad Polar Claw energy, so on that front alone, I can't help but love this thing. 2, it just also otherwise looks excellent, so that's another thing. But 3, I also think it makes a little more sense. Tigerhawk was always way more tiger than he was hawk, so I can't really complain that they gave him more bird-like rear legs. That kind of also really look like Silverbolt's once you get past the drumstick aspect. In general, this thing looks borderline perfect. Head's glorious, body's hench, beast mode's beautiful, paint's on point. I always remember this guy being a way bigger deal growing up, and I loved them as a child, so it really makes my day seeing him get done so much justice. I swear though, if they retool this into Silverbolt, I will be coming for them. He's even stolen Silverbolt's feather weapon gimmick. There will be hell to pay, Hasbro, I'm just saying. So, as always, I've talked an inordinate amount of shit, but honestly, I will be happy to get most of this stuff. Energon Megatron seems okay, and it will make a solid Legends Galvatron. Tasmanian Kid is so pure Beast Wars, it's kind of beautiful to me. The Rock Lords both hit me in the 80s, which I may not have been alive during, but my spirit was clearly forged during that decade. I'll be happy to pick up Chase when they turn it into the most superior format of Barricade, and bring an end to this prowl repaint bullshit tyranny. Bumblebee could use a bit of a better head, but overall, he looks like a great representation of that character. Optimus I don't think is threading the needle anywhere near as well, but it does look like a very posable figure with a good transformation. It just kinda hurts my eyes. At least the head looks more Chug than Chase, and Tigerhawk is everything I ever wanted. The only 2 of them I am in no way here for are Thundertron, who I like no part of, but to be fair, you would have to do a lot to make me care on that front, as I'm just not interested in really any way, even if it were to be good. And sadly, Windblade, one of my favorite characters whose figure is ugly as sin, with a terrible looking alt mode. She deserved better. But this was a great set of reveals that had me and my chat hyped throughout. Next year looks to be a good one. And that's not half what I have to say, but it's enough what I have to say. And I know, you know, what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So, if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.